able to put him away. When I knock him out, I think it'll be a big statement for me. My first fight out of the contenders was against a up and comer who was on the radar. They were trying to bring in, and now this is going to be an experienced vet who had almost 10 fights in the UFC. So if I can finish both of those guys, I think that puts me in a good standing for the UFC to bring me in and say, we need somebody to bring this guy in. He's gonna perform and put on an exciting fight.
From MMA Island. Christopher Santiago with MMA Island. Today I'm talking to the quiet man, Dylan Mantello, ahead of his return at Victory Fight League on December 12th against former UFC fighter TJ Brown. Dylan, how's it going today, man?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for the time today. I appreciate it.
Of course, thanks for taking the time, man. You're coming off a highlight reel knockout in your last fight in the LFA. You fooled your opponent with punches. I guess how crazy was that of a finish and a fight?
Yeah, it was a good fight for me. It felt really good getting back in the win column, coming off my loss on Contender Series. Not a lot of guys get two shots on the Contender Series. So I think I have a style that the UFC likes, bringing me back on twice. Unfortunately, it just wasn't healthy for either one of those, fights. But when the phone rings for that kind of opportunity, you have to say yes. So unfortunately, I really wasn't able to perform as well as I wanted to, but got back in the win column with a big win against Ednilson Santos, who's up and comer in from Brazil, trains with Alex Pereira. Really tough dude. So he was definitely on the radar for the UFC. So it was good to get a nice quality win coming back and getting that right.
And you got a five the night bonus for that too, right?
Yeah, fight of the night bonus. It was a good fight. I think it was a second round knockout. He wound up hurting me in the first round, which is really nothing new for my career. I've been hurt a couple times in fights, and I usually end up coming back to get a finish. So when I'm in there, you gotta kill me. Honestly, you gotta take me out and separate me from consciousness because there's no quit. So I wound up coming back, finding him, started wearing him down and hit him with a three-piece combo, put him out, put him to sleep against the cage, and got a fight of the night bonus, and it was a good one. It was a tough test, but it was a good fight.
Is that the most fun fight that you've been a part of, or is there another one that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of pretty crazy comeback wins in my career with a few other promotions, CFFC, even going back to my first amateur title was a pretty wild fight. I had to come back in the third round and get a finish. So it's just something that I'm used to. You just keep fighting when you're in there. Just there's no quit whatsoever in me. So I'm going to be in your face until the last bell, and I'm trying to knock you out every single minute of the fight. So sometimes guys have a hard time with that kind of pace. They're not used to it. They're kind of looking for ways to rest and chill, and I just don't let that happen. So it was a great win for me. It was especially nice because it was my son Jordan's, our older boy. It was his first fight that he could actually attend. So that was the first time he's like my biggest fan. So he was able to attend and be in the crowd and got to see me do my thing and get a big win. So it was a special night.
Awesome. How old is he?
Our older boy is 9 years old, and we have a 2 year old now too. So we got two. So I don't know. The 2 year old is he's a little young to really know what's going on. He sees me on TV when we play the replays and stuff, but he's still not really getting it. But my older boy is 9. He's in martial arts himself, does jujitsu, kickboxing tournaments and stuff. So he gets it. So he's my biggest fan. He's very big motivator for me.
I'm sure they keep you busy outside of fight camp, right?
Yeah, yeah, I got my hands full for sure between the two of them. It's a path that I chose for myself. It's a lot on my plate. His expression, it's like when you ask God to eat, don't be complaining about having a full plate. So I have a family that supports me. I have a good career path for myself after fighting, I think, and I have I'm very dedicated to my craft. I'm very disciplined to martial arts, and it's a lot to do, but it's all things that I want on my plate.
Before we get into your next fight, you did mention the two fights on Contender Series. I guess what are some things that you could take away from those experiences to make you into a better fighter and into the fighter that you are today?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's always good getting that experience, being under the bright lights, Dana White sitting cage side, getting flown out to Vegas, fighting in the Apex. It's a whirlwind. with the media and stuff like that. So it's always good to have that experience where you kind of go maybe back to a smaller show and it doesn't you don't have exactly the same nerves that you did the first time when you're coming up. So as far as experience goes, it was very helpful. Going into those fights hurt too is just it was more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise for me. I mean, it was tough getting through the camps and really couldn't do much the last couple of weeks either time. So it was a test for my mentality to see how bad do you really want this. And I put myself out there every single time. And I don't have any regrets because I won't be able to look back and say, what if I took that fight type situation. So it was a tough situation, but I'm glad I did it.
Most definitely, man. And you're looking for back-to-back wins on December 12th. How familiar are you with your next opponent, TJ Brown? Did you know about him when he was fighting in the UFC?
I didn't know about him when he was active in the UFC. I've gone back and watched his fights. He's pretty, he fought at 145, so I think I'll have a bit of a size advantage on him. But he is well-rounded. He's experienced. He's tough. He likes to fight. So I think I got my hands full for sure. But that's what I want. I've tried. My managers have even asked me, said, try to take some easier fights. We try to set up easier fights, and those guys just pull out. They don't show up. Things like that. So it's really there's only tough fights for me at this point, I think. And I think it'll be a good statement. If I'm able to put him away, when I knock him out, I think it'll be a big statement for me. My first fight out of the contenders was against a up and comer who was on the radar they were trying to bring in, and now this is going to be an experienced vet who had almost 10 fights in the UFC. So if I can finish both of those guys, I think that puts me in a good standing for the UFC to bring me in and say, we need somebody to bring this guy in. He's gonna perform and put on an exciting fight.
Mhm. 11 out of 19 wins have come by submission for him. I guess, what do you make of his grappling, his ground game? What do you make of it?
Yeah, he's experienced. He's very tricky in the scrambles. He ends up on top. He's got a lot of submissions. He likes the head and arm triangle choke. So we're aware of that. I want to keep the fight standing. I want to knock him out. I'm not afraid to go to the ground if I have to, though. I have great jujitsu myself. Especially going into a fight healthy where I can do, all the grappling that I need to be ready to, fight on the ground. But yeah, I think I like the style. I like the matchup for me. So I think I get it done.
Mhm. I guess, what are some of your goals heading into next year, and where would you like to fight, Dylan?
So I wanted to have a strong year here. I was hoping to get a call from the UFC. I think maybe when I lost in the last contenders, my manager said, Ali, he said, just go get 2 wins and let's see where we land. So, that seemed like a mountain at the time coming off a loss, but got the first win against a tough guy. Now I'm going into my second one to get a win against another tough guy here. I get this done, I think, early quarter next year. Um, I'm just going to pray to God and hope that, the UFC needs an opportunity for me to step in and I'll be ready to go. So that's my plan. I want to make the dream come true, get the UFC gloves on and accomplish my mission.
Most definitely. And, a lot of your teammates have fought in the UFC. And I think in your corner last time out, you had Raging Al Quinta, one of my favorite fighters. Who do you plan to have in your corner this time around?
Yeah, I got Al's in my corner this fight. He's been in my corner since basically all my amateur fights. I mean, he's a ride or die. He's a guy that I've looked up to probably my whole career. Even going back to Sparm when I was an amateur, getting him ready for a bunch of his fights. So he's been a huge influence on me. So I love his cornering too. He's a great presence in there to be, a guy who's been through it, in every situation and just proven that he's just got the heart and the metal to make it through. Ray Longo's in my corner as always. He's my main mentor in martial arts. I have Anthony Delemy too, who's a good stylistic matchup for me, I think, for this next opponent. So yeah, I got a great corner. I got a great team behind me. Very excited about putting on and making everybody proud.
Awesome, Dylan. I can't wait to see your fight, man. I guess, what can the fans expect to see from you in your return? Second fight 2025. You're looking to get some more momentum. I guess, what can the fans expect to see from you?
Yeah, I'm excited to fight back in New York actually too. It's kind of like a homecoming for me. I haven't been able to fight in New York since my amateur days. A lot of them been out of state, Florida, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New Jersey. So I'm excited to be right here in the backyard in New York City. And on every single fight that I'm in, I put on an exciting fight. I'm in there to put my opponent out, get a finish, and put on an exciting fight. So, anybody that's been to my fights, they know how I fight. I'm in there to kill, and it's kill or be killed when I'm in there. So those are the fights the UFC is looking for. So, I'm going to go down as I'm going to push the limit of every single minute of the fight and try to take my opponent out.
Sure, for sure. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you, Dylan. I just want to thank you again for the time, man. Is there anything that you have to say to the fans out there watching?
Yeah, I just appreciate everybody's support that supports me. A couple of my sponsors. I do my strength and conditioning with Siege Athletics. He's been Noah's been a great influence on me this whole year. We've been doing our strength and conditioning, just absolutely crushing it. Mike Stella at Movement Underground, just a guy who's been with me a long time, helping with my mobility and my recovery and all different kinds of things. So he's a hidden gem here on Long Island. So those two guys in my corner, in addition to my fighting team, has just been a huge influence for me. So it means a lot to me. So thank you to those guys, and thank you to the fans, everybody that supports me, my family and everybody like that. So I'm excited to go in there, go back into battle, and have a great night.